You ever see a 72-year-old church lady get shoved to the pavement just for asking, "Y'all be careful now"? I have, and let me tell you, the folks who did it thought it'd be over the second she hit the concrete. But they had no idea who her son was or what he'd do next. Loretta Baines wasn't rushing, just standing out front of Mount Olive Baptist like she did every Sunday, beige hat on, Bible tucked under her arm, cane in her other hand, waiting for her friend Thelma to pull the car around. It was thick Alabama heat, the kind that sticks to your skin, and you could hear crickets even through the church doors. Then blue and red lights splashed across the fence, just another busted Nissan. Cops yelling. Nothing new, right? Except this time the yelling wasn't at the driver, it was at the air, at anybody in earshot, the kind of barking that makes your stomach clench because you know how quickly things go sideways these days. Loretta wasn't nosy, just worried, that grandmother type who says God bless to strangers and means it. She called out, gentle but strong, "Y'all be careful now." And maybe that was enough to set something off because an officer stormed toward her, telling her to back up, motioning with his hand like she was some kind of threat. "I'm just standing by the church steps," she replied, not moving an inch. And when he pressed again, she tried to joke, "Son, I'm 72, my knees don't move that fast," but there wasn't time for another word. He grabbed her cane, pulled hard, and down she went, her hat spinning, her Bible smacking the ground, her head bouncing off the curb in a way that made even the tough old men on the block cover their mouths. The video that captured it, just 47 seconds, steady as a heartbeat too steady, showed everything. Nostraged. Just a woman lying there, one hand twitching, trying to pull herself together before her body would let her. The part that sticks with you isn't the scream for an ambulance, or the angry shouts from the crowd. It's Loretta's voice, low but cutting through the mess. "Let me make one call, just one." And they let her. Maybe they figured nobody on the other end would care. They couldn't have been more wrong. She called her son, Darius. Didn't need to say mush, heard her voice, and everything inside him shifted. Darius Baines, the man nobody in Temple, Texas, really knew, just the quiet guy fixing fences, helping at the VFW, waving to neighbors, and keeping his past to himself. Folks didn't know he'd seen 12 deployments, spoke languages most people couldn't pronounce, did missions that never made the news. He left that life when his dad died, came back for Loretta, tried to be a regular man. But when the call came, he became something else. Darius packed his truck in silent, see no change of clothes. Just 2 phones, a USB drive, a plastic-sealed folder, and hit the road. He didn't call friends. He didn't warn anyone. He drove all night, heart pounding, memory sharp, reviewing every frame of that video before he'd even crossed into Alabama. On the way, he called an old contact, just, "I need a badge number, Birmingham PD, incident outside Mount Olive, badge 6543, Loretta's the victim." The response was as cold and efficient as he was: file sent, record pulled, everything encrypted and waiting in his inbox before he'd finish his coffee at the first Alabama gas station. He reached the hospital at 3 a.m., didn't bother with the front desk, walked right in through the loading dock. People see that look on a man, they know not to stop him. Loretta was awake, temple wrapped, eyes tired but clear. "You all right?" he asked, soft as velvet. She nodded. "Could have been worse." "I'm gonna fix this," he told her, not a threat, just a promise. She didn't tell him not Tosh, just said, "You sure?" Already knowing the answer. By sunrise, he'd watched the video a half-dozen more times, mapped every angle, reviewed officer behavior like it was a mission gone wrong. At the church, Darius met Reverend Ingram, took a coffee, eyes scanning for cameras. "You think that thing works?" he asked, nodding at a crooked security cam. The Reverend snorted. "Only when they want it to." Darius drove straight to the precinct, didn't dress up, didn't ask for a meeting, just demanded the watch Commander Lieutenant Green. "Your officer left the scene before the medics, didn't file a report, no body cam uploaded," Darius said, handing over a transcript. "That's not a review, that's a cover-up." Green bristled, told him to follow the process. Darius shook his head. "You think I don't know what a cover-up smells like?" The room went tense. He left, but not before warning, "If anything goes missing, I'll subpoena your cloud backups myself." Back at the hospital, a sergeant from Internal Affairs tried to reassure him, We're following procedure. That's how this gets buried, Darius replied, voice steady. He walks, my mother bleeds, and 6 months from now you're looking at another grieving family. She said he was right, but there's still a process told her to do what she needed, but he'd do the same. He wasn't waiting on the system to fix itself. That afternoon, he sent the video and files to the media local, national, nobody with a soft stomach. Then he called in old friends Galloway and Terrell Tech and legal, not muscle, because this fight was about truth, not force. They dug in, found the internal emails, do not share body cam. Coordinate statements. The fix was in. So they built a chain, not of accusations, but of evidence, of doctor's notes, affidavits from church members, text logs, the medic's accidental omission of Loretta's head trauma. By morning, the news had hit. Posters went up Loretta's photo. Ask Birmingham PD why this woman is in the hospital. The phones at the department blew up, citizens calling, community leaders demanding answers, the silence from the department making folks angrier by the hour. A leak arrived, Detmer's original report, full of lies, verbally aggressive, interfered with police work. She was 5 feet 2 inches, 72, holding a cane. A nurse who'd cared for Loretta recorded a statement. She was scared, not aggressive. Her blood pressure was sky high, could barely sit upright. Soon, more witnesses, more files. A crowd gathered outside the precinct, quiet, holding canes in silent protest. The story spread regional news, then national, then legal blogs. Former officers sent anonymous emails, body cam footage existed. The department was hiding it. A woman named M, ex-fiancée of a sergeant, handed over a tablet with the uncut video. Darius sent it everywhere. The footage was undeniable. People weren't just watching, they were furious. The next morning, Darius didn't make a speech, walked into the station with a hard drive and a folder, handed them over to Lieutenant Green. Here's your evidence. Here's your choice. You suspend Detmer. You apologize to my mother. You release the body cam. And you reopen every sealed use of force case, or this goes national. Green caved, Detmer suspended, apology delivered, investigation opened. Loretta, sitting in her hospital bed, heard the apology. I'm sorry for the harm caused, Mrs. Baines. She stared him down. You may not have meant to hurt me, but you still did. That's as much grace as he was going to get. But Darius wasn't done. With his friend's help, he compiled records of 5 more buried cases, same pattern, same department, same outcome. He brought them to City Hall, laid them on the table in front of the council. This isn't about one officer, it's about a culture. When they hesitated, he didn't threaten, just promised, if you don't act, we go bigger. National media. Lawsuits. I will find every victim. Loretta herself, cane in hand, stood on the City Hall steps that night, surrounded by neighbors and church friends. If standing here makes the next woman safer, then I'll stand until my legs give out. The next day, the chief resigned. Detmer's supervisor was suspended. An independent review began. Weeks passed. Loretta went home. Neighbors had stocked her freezer, swept her porch, left notes on her mailbox. Thank you for standing tall, even when on the ground. The church reading room wanted her name. Darius, who never quite learned how to rest, sat beside her on the porch, notebook in hand, still helping others, still pushing back against silence. Some folks don't have sons who know how to fight without throwing punches, she told him. You weren't lucky, you were right, he replied. They went back to church, to regular life, but nothing was quite the same. The community knew her now, saw her, respected her in a new way. When all said and done, this isn't a story about vengeance. It's about one woman's worth, a son's refusal to look away, a town forced to listen. And if you're sitting there, tired or angry, wondering if it's worth it to speak up, let Loretta remind you. Sometimes one voice is enough if you're telling the truth. Don't stay quiet. Someone's listening. Now, tell me, do you think justice was served, or is the fight just getting started? Drop your thoughts below, because stories like this, they belong to all of us.